Wait, did you just say F-16? I thought I was the only one that had that. Hi guys, welcome back again. So today we're going to be checking out Houthis try to hit US fighter jet.
I told you they don't learn. I just told you they do not learn.
I don't know what else to do. Well,
Let's just
like
say
I
it went
said,
down.
yeah,
Exactly. Let's just say
let me just enjoy the show.
5:23 p.m. local time,
Alright,
a
you
U.S.
leave it.
Air Force F-16 from the 421st Fighter Squadron was providing top cover for a U.S. naval task force as it steamed along the coast of Yemen. While the patrol had been relatively quiet so far, this would all change in a matter of seconds.
I noticed majority of this the Houthis fight is always on the Red Sea. Is always like daring the naval system, the US naval ship and the likes of them. Like the recent one we just checked minutes ago, it was they were challenging the US
In the Red
in
Sea.
the Red Sea and the fighter jet again on the Red Sea.
Well, I think maybe we'll check out the history behind that Red Sea
Yeah.
conflict and see what is really the problem there.
Unknown to the F-16 pilot, a Houthi SA battery near
Wait,
Hodeida.
Did you just say F-16? I thought I was the only one that had that.
I want to know, are they schooled on the kind of are they schooled on the kinds of jets, on the kinds of aircraft, helicopter on those submarines, on those carriers? They really need to be schooled on the kind of arsenals there.
Honestly,
You know, you're
because
talking about the F-16.
of all jets, you should have chosen any other one aside from that guy.
That's a wrong move.
Had the aircraft in its sights and let loose a missile. With a 23-kilometer maximum effective range and a top speed of 2.8 times the speed of sound, the pilot has just seconds to react. Thankfully, the F-16 comes equipped with a variety of electronic countermeasures that turn this deadly missile into a harmless pea shooter. Located on the aircraft's nose is its AN/APG-83 radar, which serves as its first line of defense against the Houthi missile attack.
Wow.
After detecting the SA-6 at a range of 42 kilometers, the pilot began a steep dive to take the aircraft from 30,000 feet to 15,000 feet. This maneuver is necessary because the SA-6 can track its target. The SA-6 is what's known as a semi-active missile. This means that Houthi ground radars must illuminate the target with enough energy to create a fire control situation. Once airborne, the SA-6 receives this fire control data as it screams towards the target. Once it gets close, its internal seeker on its warhead activates to ping for the F-16 in its final few seconds of flight. By performing this steep dive, the pilot hoped to break the fire control solution of the incoming SA-6, but it wasn't enough. With the radar's ability to scan for fighter-sized targets with a 5-meter squared radar cross-section up to 470 kilometers, the radar was able to spot more incoming SA-6 missiles. The pilot continued evasive maneuvers with just 18 seconds to react to this barrage. However, these erratic turns wreaked havoc on the radar's ability to track targets. Although the system can track up to 20 targets at once, the radar's effectiveness in seeing targets at 60 degrees off bore sight decreases to just 47%. With all the erratic turns the pilot is making, the F-16 is effectively blind to some of the incoming missiles. That's where its next system comes into play.
Not just one. Talking
If
about
you
two or
look
more.
here at each pylon on the wings, you'll see this device. This is called the Terma Pylon Integrated Dispensing System, or PIDS, and it's the next step in breaking the chain of disengagement. While each system weighs 19 kilograms and decreases each F-16 loadout by 3%, this trade-off is well worth it because of what it can do. Equipped with 6 Hensoldt AAR-60 V2 ultraviolet sensors around it, each system provides 360 degrees of spherical coverage that can detect missile launches at ranges of up to 10 kilometers. These systems can deploy
All around
infrared
the-
flares and radio frequency chaff bundles. When the PIDS detected the incoming SA-6 missiles, It deployed 12 MJU-50B flares and 24 RR-180 chaff bundles that created a 1/2 kilometer IR-RF decoy cloud. However, this was not enough to shake the lock of the incoming missiles, so the pilot had one last option.
For them,
Located here on the
is something
belly of the
that's actually
aircraft is an
with all of this
ALQ-180.
Sorry, I have a very interesting question. How do these guys get a hold of all this equipment?
They are being backed up by
Oh,
a nation we can actually call here on the channel.
because
They're not just they have backings.
that's crazy.
They have godfathers.
That's crazy, man.
But they're gonna learn at the end of the day.
Definitely. I just want to see how the whole thing plays out. Hopefully.
Before jamming pod.
It feels like it's going
The
to their
pod can
favor right
jam
now.
threats across the 2 to 20
they're
gigahertz
launching
range using
a lot.
digital RF memory technology. This is more than enough to counter the SA-6's 6 to 8 gigahertz fire control radar. As soon as the pilot kicked this on, the pod broke the incoming missile's connection with its ground control site. This reduced the XA-6's accuracy by 70%, forcing the remaining missiles into a ballistic trajectory that flew harmlessly past the aircraft. However, despite this defeat, the Houthis were far from done today. Just 44 minutes later, at 6:07 p.m. local time, a U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drone from Chabeli Airfield in Djibouti was conducting a routine reconnaissance flight about 50 miles northeast of Hodeidah. The drone was monitoring Houthi supply convoys as they reinforced enemy positions near the town when Houthi gunners, frustrated at not being able to shoot down the F-16, decided to try their luck again. Although less advanced than the F-16, its Pandora missile warning system detected another Houthi SA-6 launch. Within 0.8 seconds of detection, the Reaper ordered its AN/ALE-47 dispenser to launch countermeasures as the drone climbed above 15,000 feet to keep all the incoming missiles out of the drone's 30-degree cutouts directly below the aircraft's horizon. As the Reaper continued to climb, its AN/ALE countermeasure system launched 8 flares in 4 seconds. This created a 300 square meter chaff cloud to confuse the incoming missiles. However, this system is not unlimited. With a max load of 60 MJU-60B flares and 120 RR-180 chaff bundles, this is sufficient for 12 engagements per sortie. However, once the Reaper expends 75% of this inventory, it has to abort the mission and return to base. How the operator determines whether to use these countermeasures or not is with the help of its ALR-69 radar warning receiver.
Okay.
The ALR-69 radar warning receiver can monitor frequencies from 0.5 to 20 gigahertz. This enables it to detect SA-6 radar emissions at around 200 kilometers within 1 degree of azimuth accuracy. With this enabled, the Reaper can respond to Houthi missile launches within 2 seconds. Because of this, the drone operators are able to deploy enough countermeasures in time to avoid a direct hit, but the Reaper didn't make it through unscathed. After landing back at the base, maintainers discovered that several of the SA-6's 12,000 steel pellets had punctured its right wing. Luckily, the drone was able to fly again shortly thereafter. Although these missile launches may seem routine, they were anything but. This strike was the first time the Houthis have shot at a manned aircraft in this conflict. How the U.S. would respond to this unprovoked attack has set new precedent in this ever-intensifying conflict. In the immediate aftermath of these attacks, both U.S. Central Command and the White House were shocked by the brazen daylight attack on U.S. forces. President Trump soon decided that nothing less...
These are recent stuff.
Yes.
Because immediately I just heard President Trump, I'm like, hold up. Wow.
Then an immediate, devastating response was warranted. Within 8 hours of the attack, the guided missile destroyer, the USS Spruance, received orders to steam closer to the Yemeni coast. Once in its launch box, the crew received encrypted launch orders from Central Command to strike. While normally Tomahawk missiles would be used for this, the Navy opted for a rather creative measure. Every DDG carries a mixed loadout of Tomahawks, SM-2s, ESSMs, anti-submarine rockets, and SM-6 missiles inside their VLS cells. BMD-capable ships also carry SM-3s. The reason for this party mix of missiles is so a surface ship can conduct offensive and defensive strikes against a variety of threats. So why the Navy chose the SM-6 is interesting, because it sends a very clear message. The SM-6 is one of the Navy's most advanced air defense missiles, second only to the SM-3. Destroyers typically preserve these missiles for the most dangerous threats, since the missile can deliver a 1,500 kilogram explosive warhead at an impressive 3.5 times the speed of sound.
Wow.
But while this was designed to be an air defense missile, in recent years, the Navy has repurposed it to also be a ground strike missile. While the Tomahawk has a longer range than the SM-6 at around 1,500 miles, the SM-6 is much faster. With that greater speed, it's much harder to shoot down and is an essential stopgap until the Navy strike missile comes fully online. Because of that, the Navy modified the SM-6 to operate in surface mode as well. However, despite having this capability for years, the Navy hasn't publicly fired one of these missiles this way until now. While the Navy chose the SM-6 for this is because the target they were going after was moving. According to satellite imagery, the SA-6 launcher and its accompanying IS-91 radar were still in Hodeidah. But with the launcher having a top speed of around 34 miles per hour, the launcher could be hundreds of miles away by the time the order came to strike. This meant time was of the essence, and there wasn't a second to spare. After getting the firing order from CENTCOM, the Spruance's crew made best speed for the launch basket in the southern Red Sea. As this was going on, the combat watchstanders had less than 30 minutes to create, route, and approve a firing plan. That's because a missile doesn't just fly in a straight line. That would be incredibly easy to shoot down. Rather, the crew must prepare sometimes up to dozens of waypoints to get the missile to the first pre-planned waypoint. Once it reaches there, the classified mission library takes over and sends the missile careening towards its target. With
Wait,
a
let
flash
me
of
hear
light,
something. So, all those time we see missiles doing like this,
It's
it was a way,
intentional, yeah.
it's intentional. You know, I actually thought that the missile was actually retrofitted with like AI or something like that. and can like think on his feet. Wow, that's amazing.
SM-6s roared out of the VLS cells at approximately 3:45 a.m. local time. With just several hundred miles to go, it would take roughly 6 minutes before the SM-6s reached their target. Although the Houthis have built up a robust air defense network, this meant nothing for the SM-6 as it glided effortlessly before smashing into the SA-6 launcher. In the aftermath of the attack, signals collected.
It's funny, I almost said they're not going to aim for the missile, but instead they're going to aim for the missile launcher.
Exactly.
They're not just going to shoot any of those missiles down. Although they are going to do that, but first of all, from the source, we are going to bring it down.
We go to the root, we uproot it.
Yeah.
So it does not grow weeds around us.
Intercepts confirmed the site's destruction along with the elimination of 8 Houthi operators. But the U.S. was far from being done. From 2014
You
to
started it.
2015, the Houthis captured 12 to 15 SA-6 launchers from the Yemeni government. Over the past decade, Iran has
oppressing their own
substantially
government.
assisted them in improving their radars and getting modern seekers installed on the missiles. Because of this, the Houthis now have an extensive stockpile of ordnance they have shown a willingness to use against U.S. aircraft. This could not stand. After the February 20th strike that got revenge against the individual launcher, the Navy figured it was time to give the Houthis a permanent reminder of why not to attack U.S. aircraft. Beginning at 6 p.m. local time, the first of 4 waves of F-18s took off from the deck of the Harry S. Truman, and these aircraft were armed with something much more powerful than normal. While a typical strike mission like this would call for a 2,000-pound JDAM or bunker buster, the Navy went hog wild on this one. The F-18s that took off that night were armed with AGM-154 joint standoff weapons. The AGM-154 JSOW is a long-range air-to-surface weapon that can reach 117 to 130 kilometers if launched at high altitudes. With either a warhead carrying 145 bomblets or 192 pounds of explosives, this GPS-guided weapon is a long arm of the law in this region. And that is exactly what it was that night. Between 6 p.m. and 11:30 that
Damn, how many
night,
hours
wave
did you
after
do?
wave of F-18s made attack runs on storage bunkers near Sana'a. And if that wasn't enough, the guided missile destroyer, the USS Gravely, fired 6 Tomahawk missiles at the smoldering rubble after it was all done. All told, the U.S. destroyed 14 Kaher M2 ballistic missiles, 3 more SA-6 launchers, and 23 various other anti-ship cruise missiles. But while this strike severely degraded the Houthis' ability to launch attacks on air and ground targets, this operation has not destroyed all of their arsenal. That will be left for another day's fight. Do you think the U.S. could be doing more to destroy the Houthis' ability to wage war? Bye for now.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like, why all these tiptoeing? I feel like they should just, in one successful sweep, they should just be done with them. Because
The problem is not being done with them. The problem is the
the political aspect of
yeah,
it.
and majority of the time the location they are at, most of them, like the video we just saw prior to this time, they were at the civilian points.
Yeah, that's true. That's
They
true.
had to
that's
wait
true.
for them to travel back to the cave before they
Yeah.
can, strike and everything. So they always use this civilian shield, and it's crazy.
That's really disappointing because honestly,
It's crazy.
but what I still find very hard to come to terms with is, everybody knows a bear is a bear, right? You don't just go to a bear cave, or you don't just go to a bear territory, or or even if the bear is not in its territory. Imagine seeing a bear in your backyard. You don't just poke the bear, right? You actually act cautiously. But these guys, they have this special
I
ability,
think that's why we are humans.
this special curiosity.
We tend to dare the impossible. Yeah, they're always there to dare the impossible.
Well, like I always say, they will learn.
And I always love the comeback and the feedback from the Americans. And one thing I love for the US is the fact that they won't strike. Even when they see you at fault, they won't strike at
No,
first.
they'll wait for
They'll
you to
always
do
wait
this.
for you.
Yeah.
And in the process of waiting, you're always going to be the victim by striking first. And I wonder why they think they can actually strike first. It's just like a giant and it's
Do you
a
understand?
small person, and the person is trying to just touch the giant, like knowing he can just lift it and squash you. It's crazy.
Come on.
It's
come on.
crazy
Learn.
because I know they had a rough time, not just only those arsenals of theirs, the SA and the likes of them being destroyed. I think human life went down
Yeah, they said
in the process
yeah,
of those things because they were there to safeguard all
the
of those
equipment.
things, thinking the Americans would just come with foot to do the work. It's crazy.
And the fact that of all jets to go after,
The F-16.
bro, you went after the F-16.
And the only thing they could hit is the drone, and the drone is still flying.
This is the aircraft that loves a dog fight.
I just feel like I'm not trying to be insulting or anything, but I just feel like they are very daft for always
Poking the bear.
not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times, but all the time.
I beg you, learn. Because if not, we'll be back here again.
We love videos like this though.
Alright guys, thank you guys for sticking around to this part. Don't forget to like, subscribe,
Subscribe.
and comment on this video. And if you do want us to check out more videos like this, let us hit 50k likes on this video and then we'll check it out again.
50k likes. 1k likes, please.